Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video we're going to be drafting out a short dress. First of all, I'm gonna head to lay out my fabric. I am going to be using Ankara fabric and the black doll face fabric. So guys, I have two fabrics here and I cut out the length. My length is about 45 by 18 inches and I have one for the front and the other for the back. So go ahead and fold your fabric into two, and into two I have a length of 45 and a width of 18 inches. I use my body measurement to calculate that. Please go ahead and calculate yours. I'm going to be starting from the edge. So first of all, my shoulder is 15 inches divided by 2, which gives me 7.5 plus half inch, and I've gone ahead to mark that out at 8 inches. I'm going to go ahead and take out the length of my sleeves. So for the length of the sleeve, I'm using 10 inches, 10.5 inches. Please go ahead and add more if you want yours to be longer. This is what I want. I'm going to mark out my neck at 3.5 inches, just as you see me doing. And I've marked that out. And my neck width is 3.5. While for the neck depth, I'm going to be marking it at 1 inch, 1 inch, just as you see me doing. So I'm going to mark it there by 1 inch and I'm going to connect it together. So go ahead and curve it out together. Next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to come to the end of the fabric, just as you see me doing, and mark out 1 inch. That's going to serve as my shoulder slant, and I'm going to slant it from my neck all the way to the end of the dress, just as you see me doing. Just go ahead and slant yours like this. Next thing we're going to be doing right now is to mark out the vertical measurements. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to take from my shoulder to the depth of my sleeves. I marked it at 9 inches and I'm going to rule that out. My shoulder to my waist at 15 inches and I'll rule that out. My shoulder to my hip point at 24 and I'll rule that out. And then my shoulder to the length. The length of my dress is 40 and I'm going to rule that out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and place my body measurements. Okay, so for my body measurements, I'm using my bust divided by 4, which is 8.5 inches, and I'm going to mark that out at 8.5 inches. I'm also going to go ahead and add 3.5 inches allowance to that. Okay, you can go ahead and add more if you're plus size. My waist is 7.28 divided by 4, 7, and I'm going to add 3.5 inches right there. My hips is 35 divided by 4, 8.5. I'll mark that and add 3.5 inches to that. Okay, so guys, that's what we have. Next thing I'm going to do is to take what I have at my hips and I'm just going to place it right there at the end of the dress. Okay, so I had about 12 inches and I marked that out, and I'm just going to extend it to the end of the fabric, and I'm going to mark that out right there. Next thing I'm going to do is to connect all the lines, all the marked points together, just as you see me doing. So you're going to connect it all together, and then you curve it into the arm. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So for the arm, you can make it wider. I use 9. You can make yours 10 or more. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut the back. Now we're going to cut the front. Now I've gone ahead to place the fabric for the front, and we're going to place the back on the front, and we're going to cut it out. So we're going to place the back on the front and we cut out exactly what we have. Okay, go ahead and cut it out just as you see me doing. So guys, this is it. As you can see, I didn't cut the neck because I'm going to be cutting it out now. So now for the neck, we're going to mark out the neck width. The neck width we use for the back is 3.5. Now we're going to mark out 3.5 too on the front, okay? Now after marking out 3.5, we'll mark out the depth of the front. The depth of my front is about 8 inches allowance. I use 8 inches, you can use more or less. And then I'm going to connect this together. Before that, I'm going to mark out 2.5 inches from the midpoint. Mark out 2.5 inches from the midpoint, and I'm going to roll that out on the 8-inch line I left. Now, next thing we're going to do is to come in by 2.5 inches and mark that out, okay? After marking that out, we're going to draw a line to connect it to the neck, just as you see me doing. So you're going to draw a line to connect it to the neck, okay? Connect it just like this, okay? Connect that 2.5 inches up to the end of my dress. My camera didn't capture that, so this is it. And then I went ahead to cut it out, as you can see. So guys, this is what we have. You ought to have something like this, and this is for the front. Now I'm going to mark out the wrong part to aid me when I'm sewing, okay? I marked out the back too to aid me when I'm stitching the fabric, okay? Now next thing we're going to be doing right now is to cut out the lining. I've gone ahead to cut out the lining fabric, and I'm going to go ahead and reduce the length of the dress before I start stitching. So I reduced the length by 2.5 inches, leaving about 3.5 inches allowance. If you can remember, the length of my dress is 40. I left the remaining fabric for allowance, okay? But I need to reduce the allowance, and I'm reducing 2.5 inches. And I'm going to cut that out. I left about 3 inches allowance, so that I'll use that to turn the fabric and also to join my shoulders, okay? Now I've gone ahead to cut out the lining piece, and we're going to go ahead right now and start sewing. Now in order to, to turn your fabric, you make sure that you cut the lining at exactly 40 inches, which is the length of my dress. Now the lining is going to be shorter than the main fabric, okay? So now when you're stitching, you're going to stitch the lining and the main fabric by half an inch at the edge, and then after doing that, you have a shortage, okay? Now as you can see, the shortage is at the neck. You're now going to drag the lining to the neck by force. You drag the lining to the neck, okay? After dragging the lining to the neck, you're now going to go ahead and stitch the sides. As you can see, I'm adjusting the lining to the neck, okay? So now you're hemming this in a way that is invisible at the edge of the fabric, okay? So as you can see, I've dragged it out to the neck, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch both sides, okay? Now at the end of the fabric, I have this excess. Now this is the excess allowance that we have, and it's going to be used to turn the fabric, okay? So you're going to have a very neat hem where the stitch is not showing, okay? Now you're going to go ahead and stitch both sides of the fabric by half an inch, okay? Stitch both sides. I'm going to go ahead and do it for the other side too, and I'll come back and show you. So guys, I've gone ahead to do that, as you can see, and as you can see, I didn't close the neckline and the shoulder. I'm going to be doing that later. You go ahead and turn it to the right side. I'll do that for the back and iron it and come and show you. So guys, this is the back. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing I did at the front, okay? Although for the back, I'm not going to be stitching the front and the shoulder. I'm only going to be stitching the side and the hem part, okay, and the edge. So I've gone ahead to do that, and this is what we have, okay. As you can see, I didn't stitch the neck, the shoulder, the front, and the sleeve part, okay. So next thing we're going to go ahead and do right now is to iron this out, okay. Now we're going to go ahead and iron out the dress. So guys, this is what I have after ironing. As you can see, it's laying flat and it's looking better. Next thing we're going to go ahead and do right now is to close the shoulder. We're going to go ahead and close the shoulder by 1/2 inch. To close the shoulder, we'll join the right sides and the wrong side. So after closing the shoulder, this is what we have, okay. Now as you can see, I closed it neatly. If you want to close your shoulder neatly like this, ensure that you close it the right sides facing each other. So the right side of the fabric should face each other and the right side of the lining should face each other, okay. And then you stitch. That's how you have a closed and neatly looking shoulder closing like that. Next thing I'm going to do right now is to go ahead and top stitch all the openings that I have, okay. Next thing we're going to be doing right now is to also close the sleeve, okay. I went ahead to close it and I also added a band to it. This band is optional, okay. You could just hem yours, but I added mine. So now we're going to measure out the whole length. From the front, you're going to measure out the length of the fabric, as you see me doing, up onto the middle back, okay. The whole length of the fabric up onto the middle back, just as you see me doing, okay. So I measured that out and I had 44 inches. Now for my collar, I'm going to be using 3.5 inches allowance. If you remember, at the front we made it 2.5. I added 1 inch allowance to that, and that gave me 3.5. For the length, we had 44. I added about 5 inches allowance, and that gives me 49. That 5 inches allowance is to help us hem the it, okay. Now next thing we're going to do is we're going to place the band right side facing each other, and we're going to go ahead and close one point by 1/2 inch. I'll go ahead and do that and show you guys. Next thing we're going to be doing right now is to measure out the neck, okay. So if you can remember, when we're cutting out the front, we use 8 inches for the front neck depth, okay. So now we're going to measure out the 8 inches we had, and I'm going to mark it out. So now I'm going to also mark the middle of the back, okay, just as you see me doing. Now from the middle of the back, I'm going to measure it out all the way to that 8 inches I marked, okay. So from the middle back, we're going to measure it out all the way to the 8 inches we marked at the front, okay. So go ahead and do that. And when I did mine, I had about 12.5 inches, okay. I had about 12.5 inches, but I added 1.5 inches to that to make it 14, so that when I'm putting the dress on, it wouldn't be too tight for me, okay. So ensure that you add at least 1 inch to yours, okay. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and mark out that 14 inches from the 1/2 inches joining that I have. Please don't start at the tip of the fabric. Just measure it from that 1/2 inch, just as you see me doing, and you mark out 14 inches, okay. I'm going to go ahead and roll that out. Now after rolling it, I'm going to go ahead and stitch in the middle, okay. You see this middle line we have, I'm going to stitch all the way to the end, okay. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And after doing it, this is what we have, okay. As you can see, I stitch from that line all the way to the end, Okay, now we're going to go ahead and open it. Open it as you see me doing. Okay, after opening it like this is what you'll be having. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and iron this out. Okay, now from the middle back, you take the middle of your black fabric where you joined it together, and you place it at the middle of your back piece. You're going to stitch from the mid back all the way to the end. So I've gone ahead to stitch it, and after stitching, this is what we have. Okay, so guys, I also went ahead to join the dress. When you're joining, ensure that you place your measurements and add ease, okay, so that the dress can pass and still be free on your body. For me, I just joined it by 1 inch all around. Okay, for the sleeve part I used about ½ inch so that it is free. So guys, that's what we have, and this is what the dress looks like. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Ensure you iron the dress too. Bye.